them had done well, and which was a real blessing. And one of the people you're going to hear from today, Bud Paxson, you really paved the way. And it was amazing that for you to get out there, and one of the things you're going to learn about mentoring is some of your greatest mentors are going to be people that you never meet. And so fortunately, in the day and age of the internet, I was able to read about what you were doing, and I was able to read about all the great things were happening, read more about this thesis, about a double bottom line. And that was just such a great benefit to me. And so as we were looking around, trying to figure out other films that we wanted to make, one of the things that kept hitting me was when we released a movie that was based on a book, the sales of those books would go skyward. And one of the great things about the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was the sales of those books. Not only did they increase exponentially, but books about Mere Christianity, Screwtape Letters, Abolition of Man, The Great Divorce, all of C.S. Lewis's great apologetics, those also increased as well. And so we were really committed to trying to make films that would get kids back to the books and get kids interested in reading again. I don't know if you guys know much about in terms of what's happening, in this country reading-wise, but we're quickly, and it's your generation as well, losers, that is one of the big problems here, because kids just aren't reading literature anymore. Kids aren't reading books because of the way that we've been cultured in terms of the internet and just reading little slivers here and there. Last year, I think that fewer than half of the people in the United States read a single book. And that people who don't read books are less likely to vote, they're less likely to volunteer, and they're less likely to commit to society. And it's really not that much of an exaggeration to say that if that decline continues, there really present serious problems for our country. So what we're trying to do is lead people back to reading books and get them excited about that. We're also trying to draw our attention to the fact that we have two educational systems in this country. One for people who can afford it, and another for people who can't afford it. And too often, people's education is dictated by their zip code or their income level. So we were happy to be able to co-produce and distribute a documentary called Waiting for Superman that came out just a few months ago. And it's not a movie that's going to make money for us, but it is a movie that has been able to reframe this debate and to get people to look at education as the true civil rights issue that it is. And so that's the other thing that we really want to accomplish here, is really to shine a light on that, to make sure that every kid, regardless of race, regardless of income, gets a shot at a world-class education. There's a lot of great things that you guys can do here. We have some great film students here, but one suggestion I would make is you find somebody else to mentor in addition to getting some great mentoring relationships. Look for somebody that you can help out, and look for somebody that you can mentor, or just look for a great group to volunteer with. There's a great group that I spoke at Chapman about a few years back called Reach Out and Read. And what Reach Out and Read is a network of physicians all across the country. And what they do is they sit down with moms who have just had a baby, and they explain to them the importance of reading. Reading is the #1 indicator of every socioeconomic problem that we have in this country. People who can't read are more likely to go to jail. People who read are more likely to go on public assistance. People who read are more likely to abuse their kids who can't read. So what these people do is amazing, just proving to people what the importance of reading. And I heard a great story from one of the physicians a year ago, Patty Prince. And one of the gentlemen that walked in there totally understood what she was talking about, knew the importance of reading. And the guy looked like he was right out of the World Wrestling Federation. He's about 6'8", carved out of stone, tattoos all over his body. And he totally understood it. 3 months later, he was arrested and he was put in prison. But he made a deal with the judge that during visiting hours and during phone privileges, he could read to his children, because in his words, that way they won't end up in here like me. So during visiting hours and phone privileges, you can see this man walking down the halls of Walpole State Prison with Brown Bear, Goodnight Moon, to read to his kids. Now there's one of the great secrets that we can let you guys in on here is it will work out. You will be successful. You will be able to accomplish your dreams, and God willing, you'll be able to have great families. The key is, if you can just take a little bit of the focus, and I know it's really hard particularly when you're starting in a career, when you're starting a new career. Just try to take a little focus off of yourself and start to think about other people. And if you could specifically think about the blessing that you have. It was so great, Dave, hearing you talk about what you had at Chapman here, because this is such a gift to get an education from a place like this, and it will benefit you greatly. But not everyone has a chance to go to school like this. Not everyone will even have a chance to go to a great college. So if you could commit yourself, if I could encourage you just specifically to commit yourself to making sure that kids get a great education, particularly if they're trapped in a failing school, if you can give them the opportunity to just learn how to read. Because as Frederick Douglass said, once you learn how to read, you can be forever free. And so as you look around, whether it's great to walk here and see all the spring break alternatives you have. You can work at a farm sanctuary, you can work in a homeless shelter, all these great kinds of things that you can do. And I just hope that you remember that other side of the commitment that Martin Luther King, one of the greatest Christians that lived last century, a great Christian in my mind, because he was like the rest of us, you know. He certainly had his flaws, but he didn't let those stop him. And Dr. King said, when he was in that Birmingham jail, how many people here read Letter from a Birmingham Jail? It's one of the, if you get a chance, just look it up on the internet tonight. It'll take you 3 minutes to read it. When Martin was down there, his biggest critics were Christian pastors. And they were the ones criticizing him, and they said, what are you doing causing problems? We have a plan, you know, just stick to the plan, take your time, you know, this will all work out. You shouldn't be causing problems, you know, you're a Christian, turn the other cheek. And what Martin said was, I don't think you understand, why aren't you guys in this prison with me? The place where Christians are supposed to be is right here. When a Christian sees a problem, he's got two options. The first thing he can do is he can act like a thermometer and just merely take a record of it and complain. The second thing he can do is he can act like a thermostat, and he can take a record of it and he can do everything that he can to correct it. So I hope that you guys, in addition to the great careers I know that you're all going to be off and running at, if you can join, you know, a lot of your co-religionists and your brothers and sisters in Christ and really dedicate yourselves to being those thermostats, to correcting a lot of the problems we have here, I think that you'll end up getting a lot more satisfaction out of that than you can even over your wildest occupational dream. Thank you guys so much for your time.